I think it's very important, especially in today's climate, that everyone works together. You can only achieve something if you work as one.
I think it's an interesting blend, having all of the countries, the small states. Here in Isle of Man, we can have a free flow of exchange of information on our experiences, and also to benefit from your history, what has happened here in the Isle of Man, and to take a little bit of that home with us so we can start to implement new measures.
Well, this thing was the idea of Tim Cullen, his background in the World Bank and the fact that he lives in the Isle of Man. For some time he'd had this passion around the idea of doing something to help and support small states. When he was therefore thinking about, well, what kind of program would make sense for these countries and how would we put that together, he gave me a call and said, would I work with him on the program? Because I've put a number of quite big programs together at Oxford and had certain expertise in multi-topic, multidiscipline programs, and said, would you work with me as a partner?
It's a very intense program, long days and some working evenings, but we're enjoying it.
The way they presented it, you were eager to know what they're going to say. There wasn't any dull moment because all of the issues are very relevant in our world today and specifically in our careers.
This small states financial management course is extraordinarily important. The key to going after money laundering, to going after corruption, is to take an interagency, interdisciplinary, and international approach. And these kinds of forums where various countries come together and share their own experiences and learn from others and get ideas about how to address the common problems that they all face are very, very useful. And we, in participating, we the World Bank, we learn each time from the participants something new which we can then take back and share with others.
Because we all come from the small island states, and most of the challenge that we face is just basically the same.
The sense of identity, the discovery amongst all these people that, wow, somebody on the other side of the world has the same problems that I do, has been really very exciting.
What has been most revealing for me is I came into the discussion thinking that we would be so very different, and what I'm finding is that we have so many things in common.
That was other advantage for me to come here, because this is a great chance to meet people from other small countries and learn from them.
A big part of this program was helping them to what we call reframe a problem, look at it from a different angle, to get a different take that might throw some light on different ways of tackling it. That's not easy to do on your own. You need other inputs, surprising input. So in looking at your challenge, trying to reframe it, get new angles, you weren't just using faculty inputs, you were actually using conversations with your other participants, and we structured that in with working groups.
Based on the timetable, we're going to be touching on just about everything as it relates to the regulatory scope of everything. And I think everybody is really going to benefit, and I'm sure when we go back to our respective countries and we share this information with them, they too are going to be very interested.
The way I like to think of it is that the financial sector is the heart, the lungs, and the circulatory system of any economy. So if you can actually have an impact there, and particularly through having the people who run that part of the economy have a greater competence, more experience, shared more ideas, rethink about the way they address things, then you really have a chance of having a big impact.
He got support for that from the Isle of Man government, and the idea was to look for a number of donors to make this happen. But in fact, the Isle of Man stepped up as the first with a very generous piece of that. And the plan is to have 5 of these programs over a 5-year period.
It is absolutely commendable for a program like this, with coming from all the different regions and pulling together such a dynamic and versatile faculty.
We wanted to build on the assistance we already give through overseas aid and look for a more innovative approach to assisting developing countries, specifically targeting small states.
That's the House of Keys' own chamber. This is Tynwald.
When I first announced the scheme itself in Washington at the World Bank in October of last year, I was overwhelmed with support and positive comments about this initiative.
The Isle of Man, of course, symbolically, why did we bring this program here, was a symbolic one, not just responding to the donor, but the idea of staging a program about small states in a small state and showing what this country had been able to do was in fact very powerful. So the case example of that, where we had a panel of people talking about the story from when all of this started, proved to be a very powerful one, because it was very much one of, you know, you just have to get on with it.
They didn't get round to giving women the vote in the United Kingdom in London until about 1920. We gave the ladies the vote in the Isle of Man in 1881. We're always to the forefront.
You know what? Here's the Isle of Man with a GDP 70% of the UK average 20 odd years ago is now 120, 130% of the UK average. That didn't happen by accident.
I think that the program has brought a wealth of knowledge in light of what is actually happening in the current world setting.
It's really a good experience, especially to have a diverse communities coming together and share their experience, and from there we also learn new things from these very experienced people.
Smaller countries in particular, I don't think are getting the quality of advice that they can get, because the bigger countries tend to lecture to them. What we're trying to do here is to provide a very practical series of tools that the attendees can leave and say, yes, that was very helpful to me, and I can go and use these tools in my job.
There's going to be a network whereby all of the countries represented here will be able to keep in touch with each other, and we definitely will be able to celebrate each other's goals and our achievements as well.
Well, that's the other part of bringing them together. Many of the bigger risks they don't face alone, they can't solve by themselves, and there will, from this program and successive classes, emerge a network of regulators all talking to each other.
What we're trying to do here is extremely important. I want to commend Tim Cullen for his vision and the government of the Isle of Man for the leadership it has shown in actually supporting this event, providing resources, and of course hosting us. For many of us, this is our first time in the Isle of Man, so quite apart from the experiences that we're having with the high quality instruction, we're getting to see a new place and meet new people, and to learn from what you've done, because you have a great success here as well.
This wouldn't have been possible without the vision of people in the Isle of Man government to pick up on an idea and run with it, and a willingness to commit funding. It's, I think, a fabulous investment, and people in government recognise the importance of that. That vision was fantastic.
Oh, this is absolutely out of this world. This is an excellent initiative which has to be promoted, definitely, and it needs all the support that it can have and can get from all the member states and from Isle of Man, of course. It's wonderful, wonderful really from Isle of Man government.
There's a great opportunity now, I think, for the Isle of Man, first of all, to take a lead in establishing this program, but also now to take on more partners to develop and broaden the scheme still further, which I think will be of enormous benefit to small and evolving states at this absolutely crucial time.
But as long as we continually implement what we have learned here, we know that at some point in time we are going to build up the confidence.
This kind of event is not only good because you develop a core set of materials which can be shared, but the interpersonal relationships are absolutely essential. And what the participants find each time we have one of these is that when they go home and they then have a problem, they have a friend and a colleague to pick up the phone and call the next time they need assistance.
One thing that we're leaving with, which is very significant, is that we're feeling very assured that one person and one voice can make a difference.
Then we hope that definitely this is going to be a continuous thing. We are just the beginners. I'm happy and proud to be part of the beginning of this long journey.